You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Thank you for listening today. I hope you're having a good week. Thanks for listening to my podcast, for God's sakes. We've been around a while, and we could use all the support we can get, right, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
You had a burp there kind of in your mouth?
Nope.
No? You're
good.
all right?
Huh?
Ryan and I are going to see a Bee Gees cover band tomorrow.
We are.
Tell me you care. Not you.
What, me? Oh.
No,
is
the audience.
Is that a song?
Look, if you like this interview, I ask you to subscribe, write a review. Helps the show a lot. And if you want to join Patreon, Patreon, go to patreon.com/insideofyou. Become a patron. There's so many perks. You get packages from me and notes and Zoom. Just take a look at it. If you want to support the show, it means a lot. It helps. Without my patrons, I couldn't do this show. And also, you can go to my Instagram at @TheMichaelRosenbaum and go to my link tree, and you can see where me and Tom Welling are doing cons. We're now doing a Smallville con for the very first time in October in New Jersey. That will be fun. We'll do a Smallville Nights. And Tom and I are also going to do a live podcast for the Talkville podcast in LA, hopefully in April or May. We're figuring out a date, but I'll let you know. But go to the link tree in my Instagram at @TheMichaelRosenbaum. Go to Linktree for cameos and all that stuff, and links to the Inside of You online store if you want cool merch. And I haven't plugged it in a while, but I have a new puppy product called Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath. And if you want your dog to have fresh breath, then Rosie's Puppy Fresh Breath is for you. It's odorless, it's tasteless, and that's a plug. Gotta give a plug. I love it. It's on Amazon. Check it out and write a review if you like. That certainly helps. We need some reviews because on Amazon there's so many. Tom Payne is the guest. We talk a lot about career and life and mental health and all that stuff. We talk about The Walking Dead. And I really enjoyed this conversation. And what's funny is you look at him and he's just very unassuming. Is that the right word? Mm-hmm. Very just a regular guy. And he's English, but you're so used to him speaking with an American accent.
And like a big dark character too. Like, he's just a guy in slacks.
He's just a guy in slacks. That's all I am right now, is a guy in slacks. I hope you guys have a great week, and thank you for listening to this podcast. Let's just get into it. Let's get inside Tom Payne. It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. Thanks for coming here. You didn't get a speeding ticket on your way here, like the last guest.
No, I did not get how do you get a speeding ticket on the way here?
Well, sped.
But you have to get, in America, you have to get caught by someone to get a speeding ticket.
Wait a minute. So are you saying in England, you tend to...
There's cameras everywhere.
There's cameras everywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, they used to do that here, and now they don't do that
because
anymore.
It was against American rights or something. They had like red light cameras here and speed cameras, but they got rid of it all because in America, you can say that's against my rights and they get taken away.
Wow, but in England?
In England, government rule.
Yeah, I didn't know that they still do that in England. Do people fight it? Do they get upset about it?
No, because they have it on video as well. So they're like, this is you going 5 miles over this. You can't deny it. But that was always wild to me when I moved to America. It's like, you get on the freeway here. No one's driving the speed limit. No one's using their turn signals. Everyone's doing crazy shit. And my wife is always like, where are the cops? Where are the cops? Because the only time you get in trouble here is if a cop actually sees you do it. You know, stop signs and freeways and
Have you ever been pulled over in the States?
Yeah, a couple times.
Did you get tickets?
Yeah.
They probably, I'm guessing when a cop comes over and goes, hey, can I see your license and registration? You're like, oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh, you're English. You're definitely getting a ticket.
You're also like, it's kind of thrilling. You're like, I'm in a movie. The cop's coming over and he's going to talk to me. And
Did you feel like they don't like you? Do they feel like...
Well, I made an error. It was years ago when I first started working here, and I had a tape deck adapter for my iPhone that you put in the tape deck and it plays the song.
Yes.
And they always used to break, but I had many of them. And I got pulled over by a bike cop, and I was like, and I was going like 80 or something on the freeway because I was concentrating on driving, but like I was like changing the song on my phone. and I was in the left lane, and the cop was like, and you were texting when I pulled you over. And I was like, no, I was just changing. And I was just like, so British. It was like, no, I was just changing the song on my, that I was listening to. And like, well, you were still looking down, but it was still kind of thrilling. I was like, this is kind of fun. I can't remember how much it was.
You are the first person to actually enjoy getting a ticket. This is an experience.
It is an experience.
Yeah.
You know.
How long have you been doing this?
Acting?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I did it in school, and then I went to drama school in London when I left. I auditioned for a few when I finished school. I didn't get in the first year, and I reapplied, and I got in, and I graduated 2005, and then started working that year.
Yeah, but I'm talking like, you know, you're a young kid, you're growing up in England.
So
what's it like? Were your parents kind of like supporting this? Were there other actors in your family?
So first of all, I don't believe anyone who's like, I knew from a young age. I'm like, no, you like showing off and you like applause. Like you have no idea.
Absolutely.
You know, you have no idea what being an actor is or anything.
True.
Like, even when you're training or whatever, you have no idea.
But you could want to be famous at that age.
Yes, you can want to be famous, want people to clap at you.
And want money.
And yeah, I mean, at that point, it's not so much about money because you have no idea how much money you're going to need.
That's true.
Especially when you move to America.
Do you remember when you thought like, I'm going to make $100,000 and I'm going to be rich and I'll take care of all my friends? And like, 100,000.
That's, I mean,
good luck, man.
That's a lot, especially nowadays. I got my first TV regular. I got £26,000 for the whole season, and that was more than enough for me. It was like £1,000 a week and that, you know, I was living on, you know.
No, but I thought 100,000 forever. Like that's all you need.
Okay, no,
like $100,000. I'm going to make $100,000 one day total. And I am going to be set. Now go back to, you know, you're talking about everybody. Nobody wants to be.
So nobody wants to be famous. So, but I was basically a loud kid, and when I was 5 or 6, a teacher saw me screaming my lungs out, singing in the, you know, whatever, like assembly that we were having in the morning. He's like, you should come and do this. So they started to put me at the front of like singing or whatever in I don't know what you call that, like. Preschool, I guess. And then when I went when I was 7, a teacher was like, you should audition for the school play. And so then that was what I did. And that was kind of my place in the school, was like, I did the school plays every year, and that was my purpose.
And you liked it?
I loved it. And I loved, like, I was a bright kid and like very capable, but quite lazy. And like, so my dad would like kick me up the ass after my report cards, and then my next report card would be really good. And then they just slowly tailor off as I got more lazy.
Just to prove that you could do it.
Yeah. And then I'd be like, okay, I'll make this one good.
Right.
Not that I'm a big brain or anything, but like, you know, I was bright enough to get good grades.
Right.
But then I did the school plays right up until the end. And I just figured at some point when I was a teenager, like, well, that youthful naivety of what am I going to do as a job? Well, this is what I enjoy, so that's going to be my profession. And my dad, so my mom's a makeup artist for TV and film, makeup and hair. And my dad is a journalist who started as a print journalist and then TV and reporter. And then he worked his way up when he had kids. Like he started taking the money jobs and became like managing director of our local network, a local TV network.
Right.
So I was around the business more through my mom because I went to set sometimes and enjoyed the gossip that makeup artists partake in.
You know what's funny?
Like
I'll say this. My makeup artist on Smallville, Natalie, I worked with her for 7 years, 10 months a year. I have spent more time with each other than I have ever spent with anyone else in my life. I would spend 2 hours in makeup before, a half hour after. She'd always be on set. I'd always be talking to her. She'd always be powdering me, and you know how that goes. And I realized, like, I think I spent more time with her in a week than I have with my mother in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And she knew everything about me. She knows when I have a bad day, when she's having a bad day, if she's upset. Like it just became therapy, and like she was my therapist. She should have got paid extra, a lot more than she was making.
It's the first person you meet and the last person you meet at the end of the day, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so they do have an important position outside of their physical job.
Yes.
Is talking to you at the beginning, and they have to deal with whatever's happened to you. You know, some actors wake up on the wrong side of bed. Some actors come in and they're like, yeah, everyone listen to the music that I'm listening to this morning. And like the makeup truck is you have to balance the atmosphere in there. It's actually a really interesting spot on a set.
Yeah.
The makeup truck. And I see why some actors, well, a lot of actors, like to have it done in their trailer or like have their own personal or whatever, because if you go into the makeup truck with everyone, you kind of have to deal with everyone else's energy.
It's kind of
as well.
exhausting.
Yeah, it can be.
It's kind of an energy sucker.
It can be, yeah.
Did your mom ever tell you any stories of any famous actors that she did the makeup for?
So she worked on I, Claudius, the 70s series.
Yes.
Like way back in the day. And then a bunch of other, her specialty was period hair and makeup. She would dress wigs and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. We got to work together once about 8 years ago now.
She did your makeup
really cool.
and hair?
Yeah, she did my wig. I had this crazy Regency wig in a miniseries. But she did tell me this one story where, so that, you know, that there's been obviously the Me Too and all this kind of stuff and like sexual harassment stuff all going on through the industry, and there's been a nice like clean out of certain behaviors. But she did tell me this one story of this actor who was sitting there having his makeup done by another artist next to her, and he had a gown on. He had the gown on, and the makeup artist was like seeing this happen underneath his and so like the gown was like moving up and down while she was doing him, and so she smacked him around the back of the head and told him to stop it. And he took the gown off and was like, I was cleaning my glasses.
No way.
He was like cleaning his glasses under, and she thought that he was masturbating in the makeup chair.
I can see that, because if you're cleaning your glasses, let's just give an example here. You know, you're just like, but you're using your thumb. Who does that?
Well, it depends how, like, you know, you can.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's just
to each his
kind of
own.
funny. But then my mom talks about all those kinds of things, like, yeah, you know, actors would come on to you, and like, and that is a whole other part of the job that they used to deal with all the time, and you know, I'm sure it still happens sometimes.
That's amazing. But she was my guiding light. She'd put the hot towel on me at night.
Oh, you like the hot towel?
Yeah, because my whole head and everything was just like tons of makeup, and then she would make sure I'm okay. And you got to remember, this is a woman who, if my call time was 6 a.m., her call time was 5:30 to get it ready. And when I'm wrapped at 7 or 8 at night, she's got to stay with me and then clean her stuff up and then leave a half an hour before after I do.
It's wild. My mom
to get home to her family to be a mom. Meanwhile, just extraordinary.
Yeah, it's really filming is really hard on your personal life. Like it really is. Like since I've had a child, I haven't been on a long job, and that's going to be hard, logistically hard. But also, like I've been away, like to do a convention or something for a weekend, and it's crazy. It feels like unnatural. You're like, I shouldn't be leaving my child, but you have to, like, you know, you weigh it up with, well, I have to because I have to provide for my family and stuff. But it's a wild feeling to like, oh, I should, and you get it in your gut of like, this is wrong. I shouldn't be leaving.
Do you feel guilty?
I mean, I guess that's guilt. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. It's just like, but I'm confident in the fact that like he feels loved and he has a very nice family atmosphere at home and it's all good. But it's just an unnatural thing. Like you do fall into those categories of like, I'm a father now, so I'm the provider and the protector, and it just happens naturally. You know, it's weird.
What's the longest you've been away from?
Like 4 days.
That's it?
4 or 5, yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe if you did. How old?
No, you see, I haven't done anything yet. So, well, last year when he was like 1, I went.
Oh, so he's very young.
Yeah, I mean, I think. Well, actually, when I shot Imaginary, the Blumhouse movie, I was away for, I guess, maybe 5 days at the most. But yeah, but it just, then you get home.
Where did Imaginary film?
New Orleans. Which, like, my wife, so when I do get the next big long job, my wife and I, we're all going to go together. But she would never have survived in New Orleans because she can't deal with the heat and the humidity. Like, we've been there together, but last summer, it was just, I don't know how people survive there. It's so, like, close.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Inside of You is brought to you by Shopify. You've heard me talk about Shopify. It's because I use Shopify. I love it. It's so easy to use. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Shopify's there to help you grow. Why it's so easy is when I want to add a product, you just go to your Shopify page and under products, you hit products, it says add a product. And then you go in there and you add a picture of your product, which is self-explanatory right there. A little description, how much it weighs, how many of the item you have, and you're ready for business. It's so easy. And I say that because I can do it. And the analytics are easy to see what your best selling product is and, what's not selling, so you don't reorder things that aren't working. And it's just so easy to use, and I really dig it.
Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered.
Yeah, I sell T-shirts and tumblers and scripts and whatever you want to sell. It doesn't matter. You can do it on Shopify. Once you start selling, Shopify makes getting paid simple by instantly accepting every type of payment. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout up to 36% better compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star.
Plus, Shopify's extensive help resources are there to support your success every step of the way.
Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 a month trial period at shopify.com/inside, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/inside now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/inside. This episode is sponsored by Betterhelp. You've heard me talk about Betterhelp, and it has helped a lot of people, a lot of my friends and family, and it's just so important. I find therapy to be so helpful in so many different ways. A lot of us wish we had more time, but time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. Therapy can help everyone be the best they can be. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. Is Imaginary, by the way, is it really scary? Have you seen it?
So I have seen it.
Yeah.
It's PG-13.
Right. So it's like along the lines of like a Megan.
Yes, it does as much as it can with the concept to keep within the parameters of PG-13. What I will say is that it has practical effects.
Oh, good.
Which is way more scary in my mind.
Yes.
And I was super excited about that. So every monster that appears in the movie is practical, which is so cool for us as actors as well. Like, I've been fortunate in that I haven't done a huge amount of pretending there's a monster anywhere or pretending to see something. I've done it once or twice. But I think that's just even harder. You know, as good of an actor as you are, there's always going to be something in the back of your eyes that you're doing an extra job. It's like when you audition for something. I hate doing self-tapes.
Oh, yeah.
Because you are incapable of doing the job that you are going to do on set, because you are already creating all of this stuff in your head that's getting in the way of your performance.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, I have to pretend that I'm in that room, you know, whatever the scene is. I have to pretend that you're the person. I have to, you know, which happens in a casting room, but there's something, I don't know, self-tapes are even harder for me. But like, you have to be more fake than you would be. Like when you turn up on set.
Yeah, there's certain energy that you have when you're in a room.
Yeah, well, that's different because that when you're in a room, you have like a more of a, okay, I'm doing this.
I got to do this, man.
Yeah, and that helps. That really like gives you something. But doing a self-tape at home or in a studio is, you just lose a little bit of it.
You know what? I have only done 2 self-tapes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
I did a self-tape for something I was interested in like a month ago. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't done it for a while. And I didn't want to memorize the lines. So my buddy got his iPad, my friend Bill, who you met out there, who was his girlfriend, was your production coordinator on Walking Dead. Old Flater, Andrea Flater. He got those emails from Flater. But we put it on his iPad. It scrolled. He would read the lines with me. We did it a couple times. I loved it. Yeah. I loved not having to really prepare and just kind of giving. And you never would have known that I was reading it. And I almost got it. I was very close to getting it. I was like, wow, this was actually fun. I'd rather not be in a room with all these other clowns, judging me and making me feel nervous or whatever. And it's on my time. And if that worked, well, maybe this is the way to go. But do you prefer people around you for the energy?
I did it again recently for the first time, an in-room audition, and it definitely had the energy to it. Yeah. The thing that is frustrating now, which I hadn't realized before, I've done a few long-running shows now, is that I know that when I'm in a show, I'm very relaxed, and because I don't have the pressure of everything has to be right, because I know we're going to do it more than once and we have different angles on it. And so you can try things out and you can go different ways, and you can, because they're going to edit the best bits together. It's a good way to think. But when on a self-tape, you have to get everything perfect, or as perfect as you can, which is not what the job is. I feel like when you're on set, you should be able to change and move things. And I'm no performance will be exactly, not that I'm wildly from one end of the scale to the other, but it will always be slightly different. And that's what the editor enjoys and what the director enjoys and what you need to balance a show.
Because you have to get it on one take.
On a self-tape,
Now, on a self-tape, what if you did something where it's a self-tape and then page 1, you screw up, so then you use take 2 and you just do a punch in?
Yeah, I mean, I've considered that.
Fuck it. If they think, hey, just, you can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you really need it to be perfect? Because the other take had a better line reading on this one line.
I think you get a lot of notes with them now of don't do this, don't do that. So I don't know, because I don't want to step on the casting director's toes either. Yeah. And it's I don't know, the whole thing. Really, I just want to meet the person that's going to hire me. I really just want to sit down. Let's talk about what you want to do with this. And then, oh, great. Okay, let's play around with it and blah, 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 which is what will happen on set.
Yeah. But it psychs me out. It psychs me out sometimes when you go into a casting room as an actor and they're like, hey, how you doing? And then you start talking and you start kind of goofing off and you're making them laugh and they're thinking you're great. And they're like, okay, you want to do this? And now I'm like, no, now I don't want to do this. I want to do this right when I get in the room. Let's do it. And then maybe we could talk.
I had the problem.
I hate it.
I realized, and I was like, I'm never going to be that actor. But I realized quickly that if I go in using my British accent, they will always think they can hear it when I do my American accent. So I started to go in with my American accent, because otherwise they feel like they can hear it. And I always felt like, really, you're going to go in? But you have to, because otherwise they're not even watching. They're listening to what you're saying as opposed to watching you perform. Yes. And I always felt like the skill was between action and cut. So you walk in, like, hey, how's it going? Cool. Let's chat. And then action, acting. But actually, you do kind of have to walk in with the energy of the character, and first impressions is everything, and they meet you and then they do the tape, So if you manage to shake their hand or do whatever you do and make them feel something just when the first time they've met you, that will make 50% of the impression, I think.
Do you think if you were going in there and you were supposed to play some guy from Brooklyn or something like that, you're talking like this and you go in, you go, hey, nice to meet you. It was great. Thanks for having me. And just talking and in that kind of, do you think that's a better way to approach it as to go or to go in there and just be yourself and then kick it in and they're like, he's doing an accent. It's the same thing, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying.
So you should just go in and do it.
I think so. And I think nowadays people respect that as well. You hear a lot about, the actor stayed in character or the actor stayed in accent at least. The funniest thing, when I joined Walking Dead, Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick, we're from the same city in England. And we had actually met around the millennium because we were part of the same kind of after school theater group. And they did this benefit for the millennium and we were in it together. So I'd met him before. And then when we were on set together, when I first arrived to Walking Dead, we went and sat in the on the deck of one of the houses in Alexandria and like just kind of chatted and caught up. And he was using his American accent because he would stay in his accent to just, so he didn't fall out of it while he was filming. So then, which is something that I never did. Like when I'm working,
That's method.
Yeah, well, kind of. When
it.
I'm working, like I flip in and out. But we were having this conversation and I was like, okay, I need to use my American accent. So then we were talking about growing up in the city that we grew up in and his kids and his family in our American accents. And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever done. I was like, this is so weird.
Give me an example. Yeah, I remember when we were...
Yeah, we're just talking about his kids and how, my daughter goes to this school. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, I have a friend who went to that school. And I'm just like, but we're talking about things that are from
your American accent is really solid. Like I remember it on the show when you played Jesus. Yeah. Jesus, right?
Jesus.
Some would say Jesus.
Yeah, well, not in that show.
Not in that show. No, I know you had followers and whatever. But I never thought for a second you were English.
Yeah, which is great. Which is great. I mean, I've lived here since 2010, and people ask me about that all the time, and I say, actually, it's to do with the fact that I don't like to stand out too much in my day to day, and so I use my American accent all the time in America. I don't want to be asked where I'm. I don't want to explain where I'm from my whole life. Like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Boston. Or I don't want people to be like, wait, what did you say?
Yeah.
So I say water instead of water, and like all that. And if I'm ordering in a bar, I'll always order in my American accent.
Right.
It's just easier. It just makes my life
so
easier.
You're pretty much living a lie.
Yes. Although I just got my citizenship a couple weeks ago.
You did.
So I am American now.
You're American. I'm American.
I am fully. And now no one can say, go back to your own country because this is my country.
Who would say that?
Oh, well.
Have you ever had that?
I mean, you are.
Go back to Australia.
I'm
not from Australia.
Well, no one is. We sent them all there.
That's true. You did. Yes.
But I mean, if you ever express any kind of an opinion on something that's happening in America, people will be like, well, this isn't your country. Or like, who do you think you are having an opinion on this country? And actually, a lot of the time, I'm not going to get too political on this, but a lot of the times I feel more invested in this country than people who were born here. Because I have worked really hard to live here and exist here and pay taxes here and now take my citizenship here. And people talk about how like, oh, it's easy. It's not easy. And it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I've invested a lot in this country. And I believe in this country and what this country was founded on and the freedom that this country gives. I really do. And that's why my wife and I left our countries and came here.
Wow.
And I feel like people forget in this country what it represents to a lot of people around the world.
Yeah.
And why they come here. It's not for a free ride. It's because you get more respect and you're allowed to do more than other countries where they don't live the life that you can live here.
I think we're very lucky. I do. I mean, we get a bad rap for, a lot of stuff, deservedly so.
Yeah, every country has this,
I could say, sometimes I'm, but I love living in this country. Whenever I'm abroad and I'm gone for a couple of weeks, there always comes a time where I'm like, I just want a hamburger. I just want to be back in the States.
Hamburger is exported everywhere now.
Yeah, I don't care how great Italy is and how great France or Germany or whatever. They're all great places to go. I'm going to Italy, but I'm like, I want to be back home.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be back home.
Where are you from?
I was born in New York, but I grew up in southern Indiana.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And
very different.
College in Kentucky, moved back to New York, did some off-Broadway, moved to LA, and I've been here for 25 years.
Wow.
So
I think one of the things that Europeans don't really realize is that it's kind of maybe the wrong thing to say, but like America is not really a country, it's a collection of countries. So if you drive across, it really is the United States of America. My wife and I have driven across like 4 or 5 times at this point. And you really realize when you drive through all of the different states, how different each state is and how different the rules are and how different people are.
The mentality.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was talking to this girl that I met on a dating app a while back. Yeah, anyway.
Which one?
No, but it doesn't matter. You probably know it. But no, you don't. You're married. But you probably still know it. But we're talking and, she's talking about guys like sort of in Florida. Mm-hmm. She's like, I want to, she wants to be married eventually and she wants to, and I'm like, all right. And, but she's used to guys in Northern Florida. Mm-hmm. Now I'm not saying these are bad guys, probably some great guys, but if you go from there to Dallas, Texas guys, to Los Angeles guys, to maybe Indiana boys, and then go up the road down up to New York City boys. Completely different people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just completely different. So, but I agree. There's just, it's a melting pot. It's.
Well, that's what's great.
Yeah.
That's really what's great. And that's why the immigration argument is kind of frustrates me, because it's really what this country is founded on. And it's really cool. It's what makes this country what it is,
Yeah.
It's cool. And it's been very good to me.
Did Walking Dead change your life, didn't it?
Yeah, I'd had a career so I left drama school and I managed to get a really good agent straight off the bat. So I was able to do a bunch of auditions, which, it's a theatre training in England. So it was very beneficial to do a lot of TV and film auditions and not get most of them, but be going through the motions. And I got screen tested for a film called Hannibal Rising, which
I remember that.
Rest his soul, Gaspar Ulliel ended up doing. Who was the Dino De Laurentiis apparently really liked my tape, and it just got a little bit of heat around me, which my agent then used to propel me forward, and I did a movie and blah 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 blah. And then I had a few different occasions where I was like, oh, this is it, this is the job that's going to do it, this is it. Oh, nobody cared.
Isn't that something?
Dude, it happened so many times, and
what are the ones that you thought would pop?
Well, but what that ends up being is that there are increments. You are going up the ladder, but you're not making those big leaps. So I did the movie that got me to move out here and got me my representation was a movie called Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, which is a focus features movie. And we had Frances McDormand and Amy Adams and Kieran Hines and Shirley Henderson, Mark Strong, some amazing people. And it was a small period comedy that we made at Ealing Studios in London. And this is what I would always tell people as well. I've always reinvested in my career and spent the money and just kept going. And so for that movie, I flew myself to New York for the screening. There was no big premiere, but there was a New York screening. Flew myself to New York, and then after New York, flew myself to LA. I stayed with Amy and her then boyfriend at their house in LA and took meetings, got my manager then, and then did some pilot auditions that year, I think. And then the next year I came back, did some pilot auditions, got tested on a couple of things. And then the next year I came back, I got Luck, which was the HBO show that started my whole journey here. But continued my journey here.
Yes.
But Luck was I thought that was it. That was I'm on an HBO. This is my first American television show.
Look at the director,
HBO,
look at the casting.
Michael Mann,
Nick
Dustin
Nolte.
Hoffman, Nick Nolte, Dennis Farina,
how does
John
that not
Ortiz.
become a hit?
Dude, there was a lot of reasons, I think, at the end of the day, but it was Milch and it was David Milch, and it was very dense dialogue, and it was very, it required something of you to really get into it and learn the ins and outs of horse racing.
It wasn't easy to learn the lines, probably.
Well, I was also playing Cajun in that, which is a whole other thing. And I didn't even know. So I went down to Louisiana and spent some time out there to understand what that meant and who these people are.
You had a Cajun accent.
Yeah.
Can you still do it?
A little bit, maybe.
What is a Cajun accent?
Well, it's half French. It's a lot of French in there. So,
oh my God.
They talk about, so I went spent some time with a family down there, and we went out to they had crayfish fields and in Louisiana. Can't remember the exact place, but I hung out with them for the weekend, and the guy took me out on his gator, his forward thing, and he was taking me out to the fields, and he was like, and that's where I hit the alligator with the spade, but he kept coming, so I had to hit him again, and I'm like, wow, I'm not in England anymore. This is crazy.
That's great.
It was a whole thing, and but it's really cool culture, great food, but a very tough people. And so that was something else. So I was playing American, but it was a certain type of American. And then John Ortiz played my trainer, and he was Peruvian. And then you had all this dense dialogue, and you had Nick Nolte doing the Nick Nolte. Wait, what's Nick saying?
How is he?
A lot of great, man. I was, it's just also kind of blasphemous maybe, but I was so excited to work with Nick and I only had 1 or 2 scenes with him and 1 or 2 scenes with Dustin. And Dustin's amazing. Oh, yeah. Love him. Great man, great career. But I was more impressed with working with Nick just because Dustin was more of a character actor to me, and Nick represented to me like an old Hollywood leading man, like gruff, like guy that doesn't really exist anymore.
Just
And,
the dude
you know,
that's just, that's what I do.
yeah.
I act.
And I was a huge fan of 48 Hours.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
huge 48 Hours
Best
fan.
scene is when he's with Eddie Murphy and he goes, Jack, tell me a story. Fuck you, convict. Oh, that's one of my favorites.
That movie is just
It's so good.
genius. Oh, and we had
Walter Hill.
yeah.
Inside of You is brought to you by Rocket Money. Boy, Ryan, have we talked about Rocket Money a lot?
We sure have.
Well, it's something that it's easy to talk about because it's saving everyone, including myself and you, money. Did you know that nearly 75% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about? Before I started using Rocket Money, I thought I had about 15 subscriptions. I could not believe it when they showed me I was paying for 20 subscriptions each month. Between streaming services, fitness apps, and delivery services, it's never ending. Thanks to Rocket Money, I'm no longer wasting money on the ones I forgot about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. In fact, I had this trial period for something that I was consider using.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go in there and you realize, oh, add-ons are $4.99 or this is $3.99. And then you want to give it a shot. So you kind of add these add-ons, which add a hell of a lot to what you're originally spending. And then you forget about it for like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what am I doing? This should be against the law. But the closest thing you could do than to fight these claims is have Rocket Money do it for you. With Rocket Money, I have full control over my subscriptions and a clear view of my expenses. I can see all my subscriptions in one place. And if I see something I don't want, Rocket Money can help me cancel it with a few taps.
Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lowering your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is submit a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. They'll deal with customer service for you.
And I love how the dashboard shows me this month's spending compared to last month, so I can clearly see my spending habits. Plus, they'll even help me create a custom budget and keep my spending on track. This is what I need. I need people like this in my life. I need apps like this in my life. I need Rocket Money in my life, Ryan.
Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features.
Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/inside. That's rocketmoney.com/inside. rocketmoney.com/inside. Inside of You is brought to you by Neurohacker, Qualia Senolytic. I've been using this stuff, Ryan, for focus. I just feel better, a sense of well-being. If you want to help resist aging at the cellular level, you got to try Qualia Senolytic. Have you heard about senolytics, Ryan?
I have a little bit, but why don't you tell me about it?
It's a class of ingredients discovered less than 10 years ago, and they're being called one of the biggest discoveries of our time for helping to promote healthy aging and helping to enhance your physical prime.
Your life goals in your career and beyond require productivity. But let's be honest, the aging process is not our friend when it comes to endless energy and productivity. That's why we use Qualia Senolytic.
If someone would have told me that there are science-backed ingredients that could help me feel 15 years younger in a matter of months, I wouldn't have believed it. And then I tried Qualia Senolytic. And just to let you guys know, I was trying this stuff before they became a sponsor, and I've said this before, but it's important to know because I loved this product before they were our sponsor. And I felt like it was working for me. I felt like I had a focus. I just felt my memory, everything, sense of well-being. I just felt better. And I know people, listeners that have come up to me saying how much it works for them. And I like that. I like that it's not just me that notices the effects, but everyone else around me. As we age, everyone accumulates senescent cells in their body. Senescent cells may cause symptoms of aging, such as aches and discomfort, slow workout recoveries, sluggish mental and physical energy associated with the middle age feeling. Also known as zombie cells, they are old and worn out and not serving a useful function for our health anymore, but they could be taking up space and nutrients from our healthy cells. It's kind of like pruning and the yellowing of dead leaves off a plant. Qualia Senolytic helps remove those worn-out senescent cells to allow for the rest of them to thrive in the body. And you just take it 2 days a month. That's it. The formula is non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, and the ingredients are meant to complement one another, factoring in the combined effect of all ingredients together. And you get a 100-day money-back guarantee. Like I said, my energy levels are up. I feel younger when I take it. I feel more focus, less aches and pains, and Lord knows I have those.
Help resist aging at the cellular level. Try Qualia Senolytic.
Go to neurohacker.com/inside for up to $100 off and use code INSIDE at checkout for an additional 15% off. That's neurohacker.com/inside for an extra 15% off your purchase. Thanks to Neurohacker for sponsoring today's episode. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The products and statements are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
We had Walter Hill was involved in...
I'm getting him on the podcast.
Oh, dude, he's great. And he was involved in Luck as well. We had Walter Hill involved. We had Eric Roth involved. We had all these like insane people. We would do these readings of the episodes and you'd have all of the lead actors sat around the table and Michael and Eric Roth would come in and all these people. And then we would go for coffee on Bundy, like breakfast on Bundy with Farina. And I was honestly 27, but I was kind of still too young to take it all in. And nowadays I would like have more reverence for all of it. But then I was like flying by the seat of my pants, 27, just like
you thought this was it.
Oh, and then I was like, this is it. I'm made.
And they just how many did they make?
So we made I think 10 for the first season, and we had shot 1 of the second season. And then there was various things going on. The horses, we had a couple horses break down and had to be euthanized. And I just think that and TMZ was on our ass about that. And then I think we just weren't popular enough. And the show, I think, was very expensive. Like if you went to the parking lot, you had the 3 huge like tour bus trailers, like one for Dustin, one for Michael, and one for David Milch. Like just lined up.
Oh, you didn't get one.
I didn't at that point.
That's
I
all right.
can't remember if I had a 2-banger or a 3-banger at that point. But no, I was just, that was a great thing. But then that got cancelled. And honestly, I was in one scene in the first episode of season 2. And I was like, okay. I've got 6 months of 1 or 2 scenes an episode is not great. And then we got cancelled. And then I was able to do a movie, which was another big step in my career. Like, and also I was at the center of this Hollywood whirlwind of like everyone. The best thing was at that time was to walk into meetings and have people ask me what Michael Mann was like. I'm like, oh, people want to ask me about stuff now. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
People want to know like what this experience was like. So that kind of gave me like a nice spring to my step. And then I was able to go to Europe and do a movie, which was my first lead in a movie with Stellan Skarsgård and Ben Kingsley.
Right.
And that was my first big lead. That was 3 months in Germany and Morocco. And that was a whole other experience. And that was a movie that I was like, and this is it. This is going to change my career. This is my first big lead.
So yes, I see all these projects that you think on paper should be huge successes.
Yeah. But
Ben Kingsley.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte. Dustin Hoffman.
It did great. You know, at that point I had moved to America.
It helped you.
It helped me in a lot of different ways. But I had moved to America at that point, and I was like, Luck, and this is America, and we're doing America. And then that movie came out, and it did really well in Europe. Nothing in America. Nobody cares. And it's kind of, you know, Walking Dead. Walking Dead was another huge deal, and it was my first big thing after that movie. I think it was the first big thing. Yeah, I think so. And same kind of thing. Walking Dead, biggest show in the world. Biggest show in the world when I joined it. There is nowhere in the world you can go and not be recognized, especially since I had long hair and a beard. Very recognizable, hugely successful.
Now, that was a real beard.
Yeah, not the first season, it was fake.
First season was fake, yeah.
And the hair, I had extensions, but I grew the beard out, and then the extensions grew less and less while I was on the show. But huge thing. This is amazing. Industry doesn't care. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
it's the biggest, literally the biggest show in the world. Industry doesn't care. I'm like, wow, this is another lesson. Like, you know, you're on top of the world. This is great. I get recognized everywhere. This is definitely raising my profile. Huge fan base.
I didn't think of it like that.
It's wild. It like Instagram
So
account
the
goes through
fans
the
are
roof.
nuts. They love the show. It's everywhere. You go to cons, they just embrace you guys. But you're saying the industry doesn't really give a shit.
It definitely didn't.
You're on a hit show and you're seen by all these people, millions of people. Why wouldn't they want to put you in a movie or another TV show immediately? Because all those fans are going to want to see what you're doing.
And that's what would make
You'd
sense
think.
to me. Yeah. But it's, you know, industry can be funny like that, you know, and then you can be on a show like Succession, which I enjoyed and I thought was great. But compared to like Walking Dead, like nobody watched it.
No.
But the industry loved it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just happens. You know, and
Succession's
you never
too
know.
much for me. It's too much stress. I can't watch it.
Yeah.
I have
It's quite
dysfunction
stressful.
growing up. I don't need that.
Yeah, I know. It's very
fine.
stressful.
I don't need it. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah.
You know,
It's very British. You can tell it's written by a British person, but with American accents. Like,
right.
Like for us, it's like a black comedy.
Yeah.
Succession.
Did you hate wearing that beard in the first season?
Yes, I hate fake facial hair.
But did you hate it because when you saw it, you're like, oh, it's fake?
Yes. I signed those photos from the first season at conventions and I hate it. But it's the most recognizable version of me. And it's when people first met me on the show. And I had a really great first episode that was very memorable.
Yes.
So people like really remember that. But yeah, I'm like, it's terrible. But it does look different, the other seasons. But people remember that. And, you know, I had shit ton of extensions and
How long were you in makeup?
Oh, I can't remember. Like
at least an hour.
45 minutes. Well, we had the FX team. I got passed on to the FX team to do that. And we ended up cutting it into like 5 different sections. It was really wild. I got cast on a Wednesday. No, I got cast on a Friday. I was in London. My wife, girlfriend at the time, was in Stockholm. I flew to Stockholm to see her that weekend. And then I flew to London to be fitted for they had the beard made in London. And then I flew to Atlanta and I was filming on the Wednesday. It was
Come
really
on.
quick. Everything like.
Were you nervous?
Yes. I had not worked for a year before that
So
point.
you felt like, do I have it still?
I just my first scene was like me unconscious in a car, but my first proper scene with Andrew Lincoln and Norman. So they're the 2 biggest guys on the show, and the whole episode is just me and them. And
Isn't it like in a town, if I remember? Or
it's
like a
like
little...
Sonoya, they shoot it down, which is like an hour south of Atlanta, where they have the studios and where they shoot everything. So it's nice because you're kind of away from LA, away from New York,
Right.
and just in your own bubble. But my character's been running, and I like appear in front of them, and we had Kari Skoglund directed that, who's a wonderful director, who's doing amazing now, and she was really good to me on the episode. And she came in and was just like, just a little bit quieter and more real. Because I was like, I'm running and I was like shouting at my first, like, hey guys. And I was like, okay, this is way too big. Like,
But that's how you kind of felt like a real person would do it.
Yeah,
But then
kind
you
of.
have to come down to TV movie world. You're like, where normally you'd say like, no, don't do it. And then you're like, no, don't do it.
Little bit.
Don't do it.
And also like the show, that was season 6, and the show had kind of found its groove and found its style, and everyone kind of had their lane that they were occupying.
Yep.
And so you had to kind of fit in to that aesthetic.
Were there egos?
I mean, yeah, everyone has an ego,
Everyone has
especially
an
when it's
ego.
the biggest television show in the world. You know,
Yeah.
so definitely people, like I said, had fallen into lanes of like, this is what the show is and this is where we are.
You could just tell their sort of swagger, like, yeah, I'm on a big hit show.
I think it affected some people that I was like, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
I did respect it, absolutely. But I definitely always had the attitude of, it's a TV show.
It's a TV show.
And
Did you
I
like
think-
those people?
Yeah.
You liked everybody. Get along
No,
with them.
and we spend a lot of time together outside of the show at conventions. We're going to see each
Sure.
other, forever, I think, at
Right.
this point. And I've seen
Forever.
forever and ever, it just
That's a
haunts
good
you.
thing.
It is great. And it's a very singular experience being on a show like that, which is so big. Doesn't happen to everyone, like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. Like you've only had that experience with those people. So it's cool to reminisce but it's weird now. Cause like, even like the Luck experience, I'm like, I was still unaware. Like when you're in it, you're kind of unaware of how big it is. If I'm honest right now, I'd be like, damn, I should have made more money. Like outside of the show, just
Yeah.
like damn, like I did a bunch of conventions and it was great and we made money, and that's honestly how I bought my house. But like, I should have like done other stuff just while that show was the hottest show in the world.
Yeah.
Like just milk it.
Well,
Because
hindsight's 2020,
absolutely.
my friend.
Then you have a fallow period and you're like, damn.
You know who I always liked is briefly is the character Eugene, Josh McDermott.
Yeah, Josh McDermott. Yeah,
he seems funny. I always want to get him on the podcast.
Josh
Is he
is great.
funny?
He's the driest human being you will ever meet.
So he makes jokes just like, I'm on the floor.
Absolutely. And I am very gullible. So he would always
Mess with
like,
you.
oh my God. And he's so good at it. Like he's very good at I'm terrible at a straight face. And like, he's just very, very good at it. And yeah, he's great. And he's very different to his character. Like he played he's a comedian, you know, he did stand up and everything. And like, he's a very capable person. You know?
Were you surprised because your death kind of came out of nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
The fans were kind of like, what? Whoa, what? They weren't expecting it at all. And in the comics, you don't die. Right?
Yeah.
So were you surprised? When did you know about it?
I think the episode before, maybe. But honestly, I've spoken about this a lot. Like I had been on the show for 3 years at that point. It's the longest I've ever been on a show.
You were good.
Yeah, it was good. I was really honestly good. And I just want to tell a good story. Like I'm not precious about it. Like if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Just make it cool. And
good death.
It was cool. Yeah, I was really happy with it. I honestly was really happy with it. And when I have fans come up to me and go, oh, like I was really sad, I was like, yeah, that's good. That's how you're meant to feel.
Did you cry when it was over? No.
I had a little bit of, because it was, you know, such an intense experience. I did have a little bit when I gave my little speech on set.
A little emotional.
I was like, oh, this is the last time I'll do this. You know,
did you say it in English or an American accent?
English, I think. There's a video of it somewhere.
There's a video.
You know what? I don't know.
You don't know what you did.
No, I think English.
That's pretty amazing. What about Kevin Costner's?
Dude, I did cry.
Because my friend Michael Rooker's in that, right?
Yeah, I love Michael.
Because he's been kind of filming that for a while.
Yeah.
How long did you film that? What's it called? It's called
Horizon. Horizon, an American Saga, and it's part 1 and part 2.
And it's coming out this summer,
June and August. Yeah,
it sounds amazing.
It's like old school filmmaking. So Kevin's been working on that project since the 80s, I think, at this point. And it started off as one movie, and over the years has grown and grown. And he finally got the opportunity to make it. And I found myself out in the wilds of Utah. My story takes place within the wagon train portion. It's really this like sprawling tale of the American West in the 1800s. And I'm on the wagon train. So I'm just standing there in my costume with all the wagons and the horses. And I got emotional because it's just like everything that you think a movie is when you're a kid and you want to be in the movies. And you're just standing there, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I'm here. You know, and I'm like, it's beautiful. Very ensemble. It's very ensemble. Like I'm one of the actors in it, amongst many others. And I think I worked a total of 2 weeks, maybe. Oh no, I think a week straight, because they shot, you know, set in sections for different storylines. I think I shot a week straight for the first one. And then that was it. You know, you go, you have this experience.
How was Kevin?
Amazing.
He's very subtle. I remember I auditioned for The Postman, and I went to his hotel room. This is eons ago, and he goes, "Yeah, just sit on the floor with me. Sit on the floor. Yeah, all right, let's just hang out, and we're gonna read the scene a couple times, and we'll just talk." And you know, I was there for like a half an hour, 40 minutes. He's like, "All right, man, how'd you like that?" It was great. Thanks, Kevin. He's like, "Hey, nice to meet you, man." I didn't get it, but it was really a great time. He was a great guy.
Amazing. When I got the role, I think my manager just kind of pitched me for it basically. And the casting director liked me. And then it was like, okay, so Kevin wants to meet you. And I was at my family home in Bath, where I come from. And I went up to the top of the house to my dad's office to Zoom with the casting director and Kevin. And, you know, turn on the screen. Casting director's like, okay, and here's Kevin, and we're just gonna leave you guys to it. I was like, okay. And then we had a chat. And
hey, bud, how are you?
Yeah. And I'm used to like pitching myself, you know, like, oh, I love the script and like this and this and this and this. And through our conversation, halfway through, I realized, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up, because he's trying to sell it to you. He was like telling me about the film and like, it's going to be this and it's going to be that. And he finished like, and I would love you to join us. And inside I'm going, what? Like, you're offering me?
That's so cool.
And I was like, oh my God, I would love to, Kevin. That would be amazing. And we stopped the call and I went down. My wife was giving my son a bath. I was like, Kevin Costner just offered me a job. It was like the most surreal experience. And then a few months later, we're on set in Utah and he's directing. And it was just a wild experience. And everyone was so happy to be there because it's such a passion project for him. And you could just feel that a lot of time and effort had gone into all parts of it. Everyone was so happy to be there and excited to help Kevin achieve his
How old is
vision.
he now? 70?
I don't know. I'm not going to guess. I think he's still in his 60s. I don't know. I have to check.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to hazard a guess. Maybe 70. I don't know.
He's just one of the all-time great. I'm going to say 72.
I mean,
He's
that's
69.
69. There you go.
He just turned 69.
So I didn't. Yeah, he's also like from my childhood.
He has 7 children.
Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine having 2 children?
So Stellan, who I also work with, I think has 8 or 9.
What?
Because
Why?
in Sweden it's easier. Because in Sweden the government helps you a lot more than they help you here. Like you get like honestly, like with my wife and I, like having more kids, we have considered like where can we be, because America doesn't help you at all. And they just like charge you through the ass to have kids.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. It's kind of nuts.
If debit is your go-to card, Discover thinks it's time you get rewarded too. So check out Discover Cashback Debit, a game-changing checking account with cashback on everyday debit card purchases. That's right. Cashback isn't just for credit cards anymore. Whether it's a movie date, flea market find, or a midday latte, you can start earning cash back. And did I mention there are no fees? Period. Check out transaction eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC. What do you think is like, you know, we've talked about all these great moments and like your career building and like working with all these great people, but also have you had those tough moments? I mean, you're at 40, 41?
41,
What's
yeah.
the toughest time you've had so far? And, you know, because on this show, we could talk a lot about mental health and, and, you know, helps a lot of people, but is there something that was a tough time to get through and you needed to work through it?
I was very go throughout my 20s and kind of into my 30s as well. And like always looking forward, always keep moving. The first time that I ever really had a breakdown that I couldn't deal with was shooting that movie, The Physician, because it was 65 days, I think. And I was in every single day. And I had never done that before.
Exhausted.
It just physically, yeah, you get up every day and you're doing it and it's great. But about halfway through that movie, I fell apart and had a bit of a breakdown. I was in a previous relationship, and that was also very taxing on me. I was in a kind of a carer role in that relationship. She had joined me on the film, and halfway through, I had this breakdown, and I realized like, oh, I can't go to you, so I went somewhere else. And then that movie, like kind of that movie signaled the end of that relationship, kind of thing, which, you know, I kind of committed Harry Carey on that. You know, I was like, okay, I need to get out of this in a very destructive way. Which
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, and I absolutely did, because I honestly was too cowardly to get out of it in any other way. And like I had so much going on, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to do something bad. And
when you're young, you learn from those things.
Absolutely. But I would never get into that situation again.
Right.
I had been in that relationship from 19. For a long time through my growth into an adult. And actually, I would argue that I didn't really grow into an adult until that relationship ended. And I had done that movie, and then I went through a lot of looking at myself, and my now wife has really helped me to grow as a person, and basically because she questioned me and was like, why are you doing this pattern of behavior? And she broke up with me. Like we dated for a bit, and then she broke up with me. She was like, you're not ready for this. And I was like, oh shit, I really want to be with this
because
person.
you don't know how to just.
Yeah. I was still being a bit destructive and not respecting her. I was still, because I functionally was just growing but I knew that I didn't want to lose that person as well. So there was a lot of stuff going on, but I knew that I wanted to have children with this person. And I like deep down, I was like, this is the person. Shit, I got to figure this out. So I did. I took some time, and you know, you just have to deal with some home truths and be honest with the person that you're in a relationship with as well. And if you're lucky, that person is capable of helping you through that. Not that you should rely on the other person and just put out all of your stuff.
Knowing you can count on them.
Yes.
That's important.
Knowing you can count on them and knowing that they have your best interests.
Yeah.
And that they're not using you as a crutch or vice versa.
Yeah. You know what sucks is like sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom before we make a change.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get to rock bottom to make the change, because rock bottom could mean devastation in many different ways. And whether you completely lose someone, or you're responsible for someone, or your behavior is it's the toughest. But if you could somehow, that's why I always say, get into therapy, talk to somebody, work on yourself, because you don't want to get there. You don't want to go, no, I'm fine, until you're so not fine that you're really in a bad place, that it's going to take a lot more effort to get out of it. So,
but at least, I mean,
but you learn from it.
You learn from it, and you can also see, the only way is up from rock bottom as well. And you can really, like, if you're not completely destroyed, like you can work your way up again. I just realized, but I just remembered, like, the reason I had a bit of a breakdown. That movie, I got to the end of that movie, and then I realized I had to confront the relationship and, like, okay, we have to end this, and it was painful for a lot of different reasons. But one of the major ones was that it was the first thing that I had ever failed at.
Wow. Yes.
I had never, because there were issues in the relationship and there were issues with the person, and I was waiting for the person to get better. And I was like, I can help this person. And then I realized I couldn't, and I would never be able to fully help this person. And so I had to exit the relationship, and it was the first thing that I couldn't get through, and I had failed. I was like, and I've never felt like that before, because I'm always like, I'm doing this, and my career was on the up, and everything was working, and this is, this will be fine. And then I had to admit it would never be fine, and maybe I wasn't the person to help this person, and I remember you get all those really dark thoughts, and it, like, comes up from your guts, and it's like, well,
they say
terrible.
Every great mind says that the only way to truly succeed is to fail.
You
have to fail time and time again. And some people who haven't had real failure, it hurts and it sucks. And the older you get, the worse it is. But if you can get through that, which you will, mostly, unless you kill someone, that's utter failure. No, but it should make you a better person. You should come out of it stronger and wiser.
And you're right, you will.
You will.
If you can just keep going, and it's the hardest thing, but if you keep going, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and you'll look back and you'll be in a much greater position than you were in every way,
Yeah. All right. This is called Shit Talking with Tom Payne. This is my patrons. Go to patreon.com/inside of you. Thank you for the support. They support the show. They get to ask some questions. And you ready?
Okay.
But if you don't like them, you can just say,
sure,
beat it. Meg K, Prodigal Son, still gutted over the cancellation. You were phenomenal as Malcolm. The way mental illness was portrayed was just fantastic. Was it conscious choice on your part or the writer's part to show Malcolm not only taking his meds, but showing the bottles on camera, considering it's not something that has been done a lot?
I just did a convention last weekend where this girl came up to me and said it meant a lot to me that Malcolm was on exactly the same medication that I'm on. And I met a lot of people through the show, online, but also in real life, in person. And it's helped them immensely to show someone struggling with mental illness on TV. And in a way that, the show was funny and it was scary and all these things, but at the heart of it, this character was dealing with very real problems that would manifest in different ways. And it became apparent to me while we were shooting and the show started to air, how many people were dealing with similar issues. And I think it's amazing. That's why we do what we do. It's holding a mirror up to life and showing people that you can get through it.
Yeah. I'm going to let you go, but what can we expect? What's coming up? Imaginary's coming up.
So Imaginary's out March 8th.
March 8th. In theaters, too.
In theaters, which is so
That's so
cool.
exciting.
So exciting. This is my first American studio release. I've never been in an American studio movie, and I have 2 coming out this year. So I'm
Bravo, my
super
friend.
excited about that. And I'm on the train, the promotional train. I'm like, oh wow, Lionsgate,
Good.
sending me out to all these things, doing these. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And Horizon's coming out.
Horizon, an American Saga Parts 1 and 2, June and August.
June and August. I mean, what else?
Well,
Prodigal Son?
no,
That's gone.
That's
what you
gone.
said.
That became that's a rights issue, I think, because Fox owned some of it, Warner Brothers owned some of it. It was on Hulu, it was on HBO Max. It was like, how do we get all of this together and sell it on? And then
Probably a lot of work too.
A lot of
wasn't
work,
it?
yeah. And then when everything falls out, all the actors are out of contract, and how do you get everyone together again? And it just becomes a bit of a struggle in that sense. But I would, that show was. That was my show. It was really cool.
Yeah. Well, you're a great guy and a talented guy. By the way, do you do any impressions?
No.
You don't? Because
No.
you do accents so effortely.
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty good mimic, but I don't have anything in my back pocket.
So if I
To
did
bring
an
it.
impression, you could mimic
Sure,
that?
sure,
All right.
maybe.
Your son, fuckhead that he is.
Okay, I need to. Maybe that's true.
Tom,
Yo,
you're a great guy, Tom.
Tom. You're a great guy, Tom.
That's pretty good.
I'm on the way, on the way.
And you just off the cuff.
Dude, my favorite Chris Walken is in 7 Psychopaths.
I didn't see it.
Where, dude, it's great. So the guy comes up to him and is like, yo, put your fucking hands up. And he goes, no. He's like, why? I don't want to. Like, it's so good.
I don't wanna.
It's so Chris Walken's like, I don't want to. I'm like, oh, it's so
I don't want to
good.
do it.
He's great.
That is amazing. I've been trying to work on my Harrison Ford.
Oh,
It's hard though. I
my
can't really
son's
do
called
it.
Harrison.
He is?
Yeah. And it's kind of Harrison. It's definitely related to Harrison Ford.
Right there.
I went to the not Yellowstone, the 1923 premiere, just because I
Yeah.
wanted to be in the same room as Harrison Ford. And then it was good.
Look, kid.
He's
He's the best.
My brother and I have started to put together projects, and it's a lot inspired by the Indiana Jones movies. Like, we want to bring back stories and
Yeah, man.
adventure stories, and
Good.
a lot of that is just great. The Indiana Jones movies are great, and I used to say there are only 3. I saw the most recent one, and there could be 4 now. I don't know. I liked
1 and 2. I like Temple of Doom and Raiders.
Yeah, me too.
Those
you didn't
are my
like Last
favorite.
Crusade?
No, I thought it was a little hokey. I remember as a kid going,
God.
"Oh, there's a dad. His dad's in this." I'm not
but it's
watching this.
great.
No, it's pretty good. It's not like the other two. And the last one was okay. It was, it was okay.
I went, so people ask me about conventions, is there anyone that you'd like to meet and stuff? And it's honestly always taken me by surprise, because I'm not someone who gets starstruck really, but sometimes you get caught by surprise. So I did a convention a few years ago, and John Rhys Davis was there.
He was just sitting where you are.
He was.
I just had him
my
on.
God. So John is just,
Indy.
oh my God, he's just like, you should come to the club in London, dear boy.
Wait
and all
till
this
you
kind of stuff.
listen to him.
Oh, I can't wait.
On the podcast.
I can't wait.
I mean, it's epic.
Yeah.
It's epic.
He is
We talked about
amazing.
Cialis and boners in the first minute or two.
Oh, dude. If you do a photo with him, he tickles you. He grabs you under
Yeah, he
here.
was messing with it. Yeah.
That's me.
So a lot of the photos of people but I did a convention with him years ago, and I got, my brother is a huge Indiana Jones fan, as am I, and I was like, I'm going to get my brother an autograph picture. So I went over and I got him Ron from the Raiders, I think he's Ron.
Yeah.
And he finished doing it, and he was like, and would you like one? He looked up at me, and I got tearful, and I was like, yeah, I would actually.
Oh my! He signed this. He signed my indie.
He was so
John
great.
Rhys
And I had
Davies.
drinks with him at the bar that night. I was like, it's so bizarre.
What a nice man.
He's awesome. Yeah.
He was so
doing,
sweet.
He was doing shots with not shots, photographs with Andy Serkis last weekend.
Oh man!
Because they were both in. I mean,
Lord
what
of
a
the
great,
Rings. Yeah.
Indiana Jones and then Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He's got it made as far as conventions go.
He's got it made.
And Sliders as well. He did the whole TV thing.
You did. What else did you do? Skins. You did Skins too, right?
Yeah. years
Somebody
ago.
else was just on Skins. Nicholas Holt.
Oh, you had Nick.
He
here?
was here.
Yeah. He's taking over your part now.
I know, the son of a bitch.
James
we
just
talked
posted a
about it.
picture of them all, and Nick has his shaved head.
What's that?
James just posted a picture of them all.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, Nick has
Because
his
Nick
shaved
sent
head.
me a picture, and I obviously didn't
Oh,
post
he
it.
did.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But he's buzz cut, right?
Yeah, I think so. Did you do bowl cat? the
Oh
whole time?
no, I shaved it.
Oh, you did?
7 years I shaved it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you just
Because that's what they wanted, and it was better.
Yeah, it's always better.
In the end, I realized it would have taken longer.
I have a movie that I'm hopefully going to do at the end of this year, and I want to shave my head in it. Is my wife is just like, you should do that. It's something you haven't done. Exactly.
And it feels great. You'll love it. Just for a movie, 100% do it.
I've never done it, and it's a look that I haven't done. I'm like, we should
do it 100%.
Yeah.
You like it. This has been great.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Thanks, man. This was awesome.
I could talk for England, so.
I love it. I loved it.
Talk forever.
Tom Payne, his agents or his publicists, they messaged me, and I didn't really know Tom very well. But then I looked at his stuff, and I said, his wiki page, and started to delve into some of and I was like, this guy's good. And it was great having him over because I really enjoyed having him over, and he's a very talented guy. So thank you, Tom, for coming over and doing the podcast. And a reminder, if you like this podcast, go to my Instagram at @the_Michael_Rosenbaum, and you can go to the link tree, and there's so much stuff going on in my world, cons and cameos and all that stuff. A lot of fun. And in the Talkville pod, if you haven't listened to the Talkville pod, Ryan's on that. Ryan has a great time, don't you?
I have a wonderful time on the Talkville pod.
You become a star.
I don't go that far, but
well, people know you.
But people know me. The people beyond my close circle of friends know me.
Do you have a cold?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
You look a little congested.
A little congested? I had to get up early today. We had a 10 a.m. interview.
Yeah. Well, I got up at 7 because I felt like such crap waking up. When I eat like shit, Ryan, I had a cheeseburger and fries for dinner. I had a soda, which is I shouldn't, I know. And then I had popcorn. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, why do I feel like crap? I don't know, because you ate like crap. Your car's not going to run well if you put crap into it. Crappy gas.
Gas crap.
So it's like what I said, so I wake up and I take some of my athletic greens and I have a salad and I start the day off right, but I have to finish the day right.
It's true. A lot of emphasis on starting the day right, not enough on finishing it right.
Yeah. Let's see if that works.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you just stumbled on something.
Yeah. Anyway. Thanks for listening. I always appreciate it. And thanks to my top tier patrons and all my patrons. Honestly, every patron. Thank you for the support. Patreon.com/inside of you. We are now going to give the top tier patrons a shout out as one of the perks. Here we go. Nancy Day. D. Bad start. Leah and Kristen, Little Lisa, Yukiko. Hi, Yukiko. Thanks for still being here. And Jill E. and Brian H. and Nico P. and Robert B. and Jason W. Sophie M. Raj C. You're welcome. Jennifer N. Stacy L. Jamal F. Janelle B.
Mike E. Eldon Supremo.
Give it with love, like love.
99 more. Santiago M. You're listening to 94.7 The Wave. Leanne P. Maddie S. Belinda N. Dave H. Brad D.
Wait. Dave H.
Dave H. Dave Ho.
That's Dave Hall, Michael.
It's only Dave Ho.
I love Dave H. He's my friend.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Brad D. Ray Harada. Tabitha T. Tom N. Talia M. Betsy D. Haven't talked to my Betsy in a while. Rhiannon C. Corey K. Dev Nexon. Michelle A. Jeremy C. Brandy D. Mr. M. Eugene and Leah. Mel S. Christine S. Eric H.
This one goes out to Shane R. Andrew M. says he's real sorry. Oracle.
He read his Oracle and realized that Amanda R. and Kevin E. No.
It's Stephanie K. and Jammin' J. Leanne J. Luna R. Mike F. Stone H. Brian L. Jules M. Jessica B. Kyle F. Kaylee J. Brian A. Marion Louise L.
Romeo the Band, Frank B. Jen T. Nikki L. Here on 95.5. April RM. I wonder what RM stands for. April, right here, right meow.
I think that's it.
Randy S. Oral P. Rachel D. Melissa H. Nick W. Stephanie and Evan, or Steven. Charlene A. Don G. Jenny B. John. Jennifer R. Tina E. NG Tracy. Tasha S. Keith B. Anna M. Waffles. I just did a Zoom with all my top tiers last week, and it was awesome to see them. And I sent a picture to all of them. And it was a blast. So thank you. And thank you for listening today. And that's really all I got, Ryan.
That's it.
That's it.
Hey, cool sweater.
Yeah. It's sweetness. It's Walter Payton.
Yeah.
It's I like it. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's really comfortable. These sweatshirts are freaking comfortable.
Maybe they can sponsor.
Yeah, maybe. Brought to you by Comfortable Sweatshirts from Michael Rosenbaum in the Hollywood Hills of California. I'm
Ryan Tejas, and also the dogs are here.
The dogs are here.
They're making their presence known.
A little wave to the camera. Guys, thanks again, and be good to yourself.